Hi everybody, this is Ms. Peachy from your WCA Marine Science class, and I'm going to talk to you just briefly about your Unit 4 activity on exploring ethics. In this particular portfolio, you're going to be looking at an ethical issue in marine science and looking at both sides of the issue, researching both sides of the issue, kind of presenting them, and then choosing one and explaining your reason for selecting that side. And that's pretty much it. So for this one, I do have a template on my website as usual. So if you look under my website here, under Unit 4 Activity Template, that's where you're going to find the template and tell you what to do. The first slide here is just your title for this total portfolio. And then the second slide, you're going to explain which issue you selected and kind of give an overview of that issue. I always like to have an image inserted. It kind of makes things a little bit more visually interesting. And then you're going to explain one side of the issue here for this slide. 5 points on that side of the issue. It doesn't have to be the side that you choose as the one you're going to support, but you also are going to discuss the other side of the issue that you've selected. Again, insert an image here, and that just makes things more interesting. Then you're going to select the second side of your issue, discuss 5 points relating to that side as well. Finally, a summary paragraph, kind of summarizing both sides, but then choosing one and explaining why you chose that side. And lastly, your works cited in MLA citation, making sure you select at least 2 sources for both sides of your issue. Now, as far as where to find good, reputable sources of information, one place to choose is to go to your class link site. Go to class link. One of the things that should be on your class link page here is library research resources. So if you click on that, there's a bunch of different things you can pick here. Just scrolling down, the thing that is probably the most useful to help you kind of figure out maybe what you want to do your research on is looking at this Opposing Viewpoints website. So if I click on this, it brings up this website. And while there are some interesting viewpoints expressed here, I think one of the best kind of ways to use this for this particular assignment is just to kind of use it to get ideas. So I'm going to put oceans in here because your research should have to do with a controversy in the oceans. And if I scroll down, I will see that there are 35 opposing viewpoints on ocean science. When I click on it, it brings up these, let's go back here. There you go. It brings up these opposing viewpoints. Antarctica is not melting. Ice sheets are not collapsing. Glaciers are growing, not melting. The United States should invest in oceans before space. Global warming threatens massive sea level rise. Polar ice caps will not cause sea level to rise. So those are opposing viewpoints, obviously. Global warming could not melt the polar ice caps. Lots here on sea level so far. Global warming is not causing malnutrition. Ocean pollution is a global threat. So pollution is another issue that's brought up here. Invasive species is a viewpoint that is brought up here. So multiple different viewpoints here. I just clicked marine science as another search topic. Trump's offshore oil drilling plans ignore the lessons of BP. So we could look at drilling for oil in the oceans. Tourism, ocean tourism, loss of biodiversity. So there's lots of things you could look at here. Maybe you want to do something involving the coral reefs, and I want to put that on here. And the viewpoints they have on coral reefs. Trade threatens the coral reefs. Fishing and boating bans in coral reefs. So there's many types of threats here. So I think it's a good place to get ideas, but it's also a good place to get information. So maybe I can click on this. Marine biodiversity is at great risk, and it talks about this article on marine biodiversity and some of the, the threats to marine biodiversity. In any case, that's just one way to get information, right? You can also, of course, search on the internet for information, but just be very, 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 very skeptical about the information that you get, and make sure that the information is coming from a reputable source. I think some of the things you can look for is it coming from a news source that you recognize? That could be a reputable source, right? Is it coming from a college or university publication? Is it coming from a government website? Those are usually reputable sources too. However, you have to kind of look at everything with a grain of salt. News is oftentimes slanted. You can get different viewpoints. But that's kind of the point here, right? Because we're trying to look at different viewpoints. We won't necessarily get the neutral point of view because you're trying to analyze both sides to an issue. All right, so hopefully that kind of gives you a little insight as to what you need to do for this portfolio. You have the option of selecting kind of what you want to, but keep in mind that the topic needs to focus around some controversial thing in the oceans. Or we can extend that to other aquatic sources, inland aquatic sources as well, right? But not just some, we're not talking about vaccines here. We're not talking about gun control. We're not talking about anything like that because that has nothing to do with our ocean sciences. If you guys have any questions or you would like to kind of talk to me about maybe something you're not sure if it would meet the criteria of a topic, just go ahead and give me a call at extension 2204. Otherwise, y'all have a great day.